Sneaking, stealing and stylish coats. Here are the 10 best spy games on PC. Realistically, this list should have been hiding inside another feature. You should have clicked on the link for 10 best games with dogs or something, only to be met by a man in a trench coat offering recommendations for the tidiest espionage games on PC. But we've gone with the more obvious path because our SEO handlers demand it. This list then rounds up some of the best PC games to try if you fancy some covert ops. Some are glamorous parodies of 60s thrillers, others dusty Cold War open-worlders, but all of them offer best-in-class clandestine thrills. Here, in no particular order, are the 10 best spy games on PC.
Don't be such a damn fool.
A spy party would be great, wouldn't it? Martinis, tuxedos, getting sniped through a window just as you're about to plant that evidence on the KGB agent you slightly fancy. Alright, maybe not the last one. But don't take our reluctance to die in the line of duty as a slur against Spy Party, a smart, asynchronous multiplayer game that sees one player as the aforementioned espionage schmoozer, another as the sniper trying to scupper their plans. And the interesting thing here is that the sniper has no idea who the human player is and has to work it out through a swirl of visual cues, odd behaviour and intuition. If you like your spy movies more Bond than Bourne, the sedate, canapé-munching pace of Spy Party is a classy distraction. I'll be the one with the dashing moustache stood by the window. Just try not to get me shot. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a brilliant stealth game on every conceivable level. It's systemically perfect, allowing you to think through every strategy before you implement it while remaining flexible enough that you can adapt if things go wrong. So you can say goodbye to endless restarts to get that perfect run. MGS V is all about whatever works. And it also has that wild Kojima sense of humour as well. If you don't want to spend hours listening to audio tapes, delving into the game's world of counter-espionage, vocal parasites and governmental betrayal, you can just lark about instead, sliding around in boxes or Fultoning every living thing you find. It's the ultimate reactive stealth sandbox, the sort of game Nintendo would make if they ditched piranha plants for sentient photosynthesizing snipers.
Finish her.
Gunpoint displays elements of the classic spy game in every pixel. There's a fedoraed, rain-coated hero who's thrust into an impossible conspiracy and a warehouse of technology-liquidizing gizmos that defy real-life physics. But that doesn't mean that it's in any way cliched. It was created by ex-PC Gamer writer Tom Francis, and his years as a critic helped the game to avoid narrative clumsiness with the ease of protagonist Richard Conway, which is, in itself, a really clumsy way of saying it's both funny and good. It also has a deeply satisfying central mechanic, which allows you to hack circuits and force all kinds of unpredictable results. It's so good, in fact, that Gunpoint feels like the work of an evil genius rather than just one person, which brings us neatly on to our next entry. So far in this list, we've been all about saving the world, but our fourth pick is more about conquering it. Evil Genius takes any aspirations of nobility, straps them to an unnecessarily slow death trap, and laughs maniacally while it explains its plans in great detail. It's essentially a mad scientist layer management game. Think Dungeon Keeper meets Despicable Me, which sees your polo sweater wearing ne'er-do-well raiding with armies of henchmen, abducting civilians, and building bases in the most evil locations imaginable. If you fancy trying a classic spy game from a cat-stroking POV, Evil Genius is here to do your bidding. And if you want all the Austin Powers humour from a heroic perspective, our next entry has you covered.
Don't want agents snooping around while you're taking over the world.
Surprisingly few spy games use swinging 60s cheese as their inspiration with quite the same gusto as No One Lives Forever. And that's exactly what makes it so refreshing to play, even now, 18 years after release. It's inconceivable that this much time and effort would go into making a game that's essentially a AAA comedy title. But that doesn't mean that No One Lives Forever is in any way bad or disappointing. In fact, when it came out, many hailed it as the best FPS since Half-Life. And in Kate Archer, we have a true PC gaming hero. Sassy, smartly dressed, and in desperate need of a comeback. But sadly, that's never going to happen. A licensing farrago means the promise of a No One Lives Forever sequel is permanently locked in the supervillain's volcano layer, waiting to be devoured by mutated Komodo dragons.
Can you handle it?
Of course I can.
The one thing that Invisible Ink teaches us, aside from all good spies need snazzy jackets, is that espionage is hard. There's no swaggering into solutions by accident here. In this turn-based stealth game, every decision must be cautiously planned, and you always need a watertight exit strategy. Things will go wrong, you'll be tempted to try and achieve too much. Operations will fall apart like the spy equivalent of a clown car. But when they go right, you'll feel every bit as capable and sexy as Invisible Ink's cast of immaculate characters. Well, for a while, at least. If you love XCOM, but prefer your peril on a smaller scale, Invisible Ink has a discreetly shared data spike with your name on it.
Get us out of here. We've got work to do.
It might be 13 years old and lost in a bustle of other similar Splinter Cell titles, but Chaos Theory stands out because it offers all the best bits of the series. It does everything you could possibly want from a Splinter Cell game. Glowing green optics, shooting lights, threatening hapless goons, but it also features Michael Ironside's best performance as Sam Fisher, a man so grizzled he makes most grizzly bears look like Paddington. His delivery is helped along by the game's blackly comic script, and levels that represent the pinnacle of the series in terms of design and intrigue. Sam Fisher is a stealth game icon who's informed numerous video game protagonists since, and Chaos Theory is a lingering example of exactly why that is.
It's what we expected.
Alpha Protocol is one of those games that sounds conceptually brilliant, but doesn't quite deliver. And like a dog with a wheel replacing one leg, you learn to love it despite its deficiencies. It's full of cool ideas and big concepts, a true espionage RPG that tries to chart the full experience of being a spy instead of just the business end stuff that we see in most games. There's a degree of strategy behind everything you do and branching choices that let you play the game as whatever type of spy you like. Does it gel into a satisfying, cohesive whole? Not exactly. But when a game tries so hard and includes so many aspirational ideas, you have to applaud it for trying. And when you think about it, James Bond was sort of broken as well, and he manages just fine.
Guess that'll have to do.
Perhaps there's a distinction to be made between spy games and assassination games, but there's undoubtedly something very espionage-y about Agent 47's murderous exploits. Yes, your sole purpose is to drown, poison or shoot your targets, rather than surreptitiously gather information, but if you want the feel of being deep undercover, surrounded by people who intend you harm, there's really nothing quite like Hitman. And while the recent reboots are truly incredible games, I'm going to include Blood Money here because everyone loves Blood Money. It still has some brilliantly inventive ways to kill people, and because it's a dusty 10 years old, you can play it on pretty much any PC with a power supply. And that's something we've covered in another video, which you can watch by hitting the link on screen now. It doesn't look like much these days, but Sid Meier's Covert Action still has some ambitious ideas and deft touches, especially for a game made in 1990. It has all the things a great spy game should: infiltration, decryption, bugging and more, each with their own bespoke minigame. And the missions are all randomly generated too, as you pursue your central purpose of breaking a spy network in order to track down its mastermind. According to Meyer, the game was actually too ambitious. He felt that the disparate elements made things too fragmented, and he's since implemented his own Covert Action rule to future releases, ensuring that games like Civilization focus on doing one thing well, rather than trying to do too much. And with that, our mission is complete. I'm off back to my moderately evil lair to stroke Mr. Flibbles and make new plans for world domination. Mr. Flibbles is my cat, by the way.
Shut up!
In the meantime, please consider subscribing to the channel, karate chopping that like button, or hitting the emergency notification bell if you are already subscribed. Thank you very much for watching.